Hi, everybody. Welcome into GoLimestoneSaints.com for the latest edition of Saints Live. Today we're talking women's lacrosse. We'll talk with the head coach of the Saints, Scott Tucker, and our student-athlete guest this week is Jaylen Schulte. Stay with us. Back with this week's show after this. Welcome back, everyone. As the latest edition of Saints Live continues, a women's lacrosse special. We're going to hear from the head coach of the Saints, Scott Tucker, coming up in just a bit. But the Limestone women's lacrosse program, once again, among the national leaders within the top 10 in the country, once again this season, despite having to replace numerous faces from last year's highly successful team. One of those key contributors this year, and is only a sophomore, if that gives you an indication about this year's team. But Jaylen Schulte is with us now. It's good to see you. Thanks for taking time to join us.
Hi, it's good to see you too.
You have some of your teammates that are in attendance here today, scrutinizing. They've got the camera phones, the cameras out, taking some pictures. Who are some of your teammates that you have with you today?
I have Sammy Greaves, Shannon Siss, Elena Simmons, Anna O'Donnell, Bree Knopp, Kirsten Terry, and Kate Dolliner.
All right, so hello to the ladies that have come out to join us. Big win against St. Leo earlier this week. Kind of a bounce-back game after you tasted defeat for the first time over the weekend. Tell us about that win against St. Leo.
I think we really needed it as a team. The game against Rollins was a hard loss for us, and I mean, we didn't really expect to lose, and I don't think we ever gave up during the game, so to bounce back with a huge win was something we really needed to lift our spirits. And
what a lot of folks don't realize is with spring sports, a lot of times these students do not get to go home for the spring break like some of the other students get to, or those that are not involved with spring sports. Now, although you did not get back to Maryland, you and Coach Tucker were able to spend some time down in the Sunshine State playing a few games. So tell us about the trip.
Yeah, we played 2 games in Florida. We got to go to Universal. It was great quality time with the team and nice weather, so that was nice.
That's got to be a plus when you come into a program knowing you're going to get to have a little fun while you play lacrosse at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. It was, definitely nice.
Tell us about making the transition. You're from Edgewater, Maryland, an area that is well familiar with Limestone lacrosse, both men and women. Tell us about making the decision to join Limestone.
Yeah, it was a really big decision for me. I looked at Limestone from the beginning, and I liked the tradition of winning, and it was such a great program and great atmosphere, and I was happy I chose it. The South wasn't a big difference for me. I mean, it's not any different from home. So
how about making the adjustment to the synthetic surface that all the spring sports teams and even soccer are able to use now?
All throughout high school I played on turf, so it wasn't a big deal. And when I came in as a freshman, we practiced all year on the grass and even through some games, but the turf hasn't really been that big of a difference. It's a really nice field. I love it.
Now, did you get any playing time last year as a freshman?
Yeah, definitely. A backup for one of our injured players, Carly, would go in when it was like big games, blowouts, whatever.
Well, we're talking with Jaylen Schulte. Now, the reason I asked you about your playing time last year as a freshman, did you expect a year later as a sophomore to have the success that you're currently having? After all, you're number 2 on the team in scoring right now.
Yeah, I definitely didn't expect it. I mean, it's a huge responsibility, and I'm just trying to play for the team, not really caring about myself.
Well, let's talk about some of your numbers. 17 goals, but you're also balanced. You have 15 assists on the season, so talk about those numbers.
I rather assist than score, honestly. That's what my position mainly does, is try and assist.
And your position is?
Attack.
Attack,
yeah,
right?
Low attack. But yeah, if I get a chance to score, I can score, but mainly looking to assist.
Does it make it a little easier? You go from a freshman seeing some playing time to now you've started in all 9 games this year, and I believe, according to the research department, you've tallied a point in all but 1 game this year.
Yeah, all but 1 game. But yeah, it definitely helped playing as a freshman. You get that experience, and when you go out now, you have that composure and confidence to play. So
now, of course, student athlete. So you're not only here to play sports, but you're also here to get an education as well. If you would, share with us what your major is.
Yeah, my major is healthcare administration. In the future, I hope to run a hospital, big aspiring thing, but yeah, I love the medical field and all that has to do with it.
How about the remainder of the season that is ahead for you and your fellow teammates, some of the things on the horizon?
Yeah, we have a big season ahead of us with the one loss to Rollins. We really need to win here on out so we can make it to NCAA. So we have to get focused, work together, and win on out.
And what some folks may not realize, when it comes to women's lacrosse, there is a small margin, really small margin for error, and I think you just hit the nail on the head a few moments ago.
Yeah, we only allow, I think, 8 teams into NCAA tournament, so 4 from the south, 4 from the north, so if you don't make it, then that's it. So
how about something that we may not know about your head coach here in Scott Tucker?
Oh, God. If I say something wrong, we might have to run a couple challenges today. So, but he's quite a character. He's really enthusiastic, great coach. So.
Well, listen, best of luck not only for the remainder of the season, but throughout your athletic career here at Limestone. It's been a pleasure to have you on with us.
Thank you very much.
All right, Jaylen Schulte has been our guest during this segment of Saints Live. Stay with us, back with the head coach of the Limestone Saints and Scott Tucker after these messages on the Saints Sports Network. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the latest edition of Saints Live, continuing from the Stevenson Dining Hall. As always, more news and notes on Limestone Athletics available online at the official website of the Saints at GoLimestoneSaints.com. We thank Jaylen Schulte for joining us in our previous segment. How about, before we get going here, Coach Scott Tucker, some thoughts on Jaylen?
Jaylen's really come into her own this year. She's stepped into a role that was much in need, and she's playing with confidence right now. She's a goal scorer, a multiple threat, so we're really happy with how she's performing on the field.
Now, if Coach Tucker looks a little tired right now, looks a little red in the eye, I want to say congratulations to you because, boy, you've stepped both feet in the fire. Proud papa of twins.
Twin girls, yes, sir. Yeah, we had 2, Addison and Amelia, and they were born a month and a week ago, so they're doing their job, eating, sleeping, and changing diapers and all that fun stuff. So it's been an experience. So Coach Tucker last night, he had a late night. One slept, and the other decided they wanted to keep you up. One was pretty fussy last night, but yeah, it's been fun though.
Well, talking lacrosse, your team is off to a great start this season. Let's talk about some of the key personnel on this year's team.
We have a great group. I think one of our assets is our depth. We have a lot of players that are contributing this year. Sammy McCarrick, Taylor Klein. We have some great defenders, and Jessica Riggle, Riley Winter, Elizabeth Bunn, and it goes on. I think one of the things that's really contributed to some of these successful games that we've had is the fact that we can utilize a lot of these players in each game and hopefully run people down, wear them down in the game, and it's really worked out well for us this year.
Now, one of the other factors, many programs in the country would be ecstatic to be 8-1, and I know there was a little disappointment with a recent loss, but you've been hit hard by injuries this year.
We have, it's not kind of our style to use that as an excuse. We still have the same expectations from our players, and things happen to teams all the time, and unfortunately it's our year for that. But I think the way we've responded is, I'm proud of our team and what we've done thus far. So the Rollins game obviously was a tough loss, but I think we learned a lot from it. And sometimes a loss helps your team understand that the things we talk about at practice are important, and the extra work they do makes a big impact, and sometimes that loss makes them listen a little bit more too.
Coach Tucker, one of the things we've seen over the course of your time here at Limestone is you like to get, you just mentioned it earlier, a lot of numbers into the ball game. That means a lot of the younger players are going to see some playing time as a result of that, and we were just talking with Jaylen Schulte a few minutes ago, and here's a young lady that goes from maybe spot action as a freshman to last year. She jumps right in as a sophomore, and she's tallied a point in all but one game so far.
Right, and with the losses we had on offense last year, another great example. Shannon Sisk came in as a freshman, and she's starting for us right now in a spot where we had a similar player, Sarah Orr, who was a starter for us from her freshman year on, and was one of our leading assist players. But it's important to get the players some time on the field. Some of them have been thrown into it a little bit earlier than expected and has risen to the challenge. So we're excited about that.
Mentioned 8 wins so far in 9 outings this year. Who have been some of the bigger wins for you? They're all big, but who have been some of the marquee matchups so far?
Right. I think up to this point, we picked up Grand Valley, who was previously ranked. But in region, I think Bloomsburg and Queens have been our 2 biggest victories thus far. Queens is a team that was ranked in the top 15 early on in the year. Bloomsburg was ranked in the top 20, and those are games that we need to get wins against because of the regionals. The way the regional runs up into Pennsylvania, we need to get those Pennsylvania school wins.
Mm-hmm. Now, schedule coming up.
We have right now we have Erskine tomorrow night, 7 p.m. game, Converse next Wednesday, and then conference rival Belmont Abbey next Saturday, and then followed by that we have a huge game against Florida Southern, who right now is a top 10 team and probably 1 or 2 in the region right now as it stands. So that's a big game for us. It has NCAA implications, but I think if we keep moving forward, we'll have a good shot at taking them down.
And as far as the losses that you were talking about from a season ago and some of the injuries, to be sitting where you're at, I don't think it's necessarily ho-hum, but that's where you have this program at right now. There's a certain expectation whether or not you're going to play 30 seconds a game or whether you're playing the whole contest. There's a certain level of expectations here.
There is, and I think that for the most part, again, going back to the depth and all that, the team really kind of has worked with each other to make them all believe that how important each game is, each minute is, every game. And I think that goes to some of the players that have been around for some years, and they relay that information to the younger players and our transfers. And I think that as soon as they buy in, which with this team has been fairly quickly, it's making a big difference.
And of course, one of the reasons for success, being able to maintain that coaching staff. And I know you've got Carly Buck that's out here with you and some of the players today.
She is, yeah. Kevin Carly here for the last few years, and having her, being able to keep her around has been extremely helpful. And the amount of work she's picked up with us losing an assistant earlier in the year, not being able to get the position back right away, she's really taken up a lot of that slack. And especially with my situation right now with the twins, she's even piling it on more. So she's been extremely helpful and a big part of the program.
And one of the good things that's coming up, it'll be here before you know it. I mean, we're in the 3rd week of March, but the Conference Carolinas tournament is not too far off in the distance, and it's so great to have that on campus this year.
It is. It's something that we used to have on campus in the past, and it moved to Queens, and now we got it back, and I think it's a good thing for Limestone College and great for the lacrosse programs here. Both men and women will be hosting regardless of the seed, so we're really excited about hosting that again.
And as we close out, year what for you now at Limestone?
Oh man, 13, 14, I think.
There you go.
Season.
Well, 14 years now as the head coach of the Saints, and it seems like just yesterday, well, from my perspective, I don't know about you, but it seems just like yesterday that you came aboard.
The time does fly. It's funny. You start seeing some of your alumni show up on other sidelines and coaching against you, and it's you start to realize that you've been here for quite a while.
Coach, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
That's the head coach of the Limestone Women's Lacrosse Program, Scott Tucker. Stay with us. Back after this on the Saints Sports Network. We want to thank Limestone Women's Lacrosse coach Scott Tucker and also Women's Lacrosse standout Jaylen Schulte for joining us on the latest edition of Saints Live. We'll see you next week, everyone.